To begin season 5 of Talkie Talk's Girls Eye View, we've been joined by our Talkie Talk sponsored player, Jay Foulston. Jay was one of many fantastic signings that Paul Watson brought in last season. We discuss about last season at Torquay, his football career so far, the life of a footballer, and much more. Thank you and enjoy.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sills!
Jay Foulston, thanks for joining. How are you? Did you have a good break? And how's pre-season going so far?
No, pleasure to be on you. I'm all good, thank you. Pre-season's it's been a tough start, but it's been going really well. All the new lads are settled in really good, and just excited to get the season going now.
What is like the beginning of pre-season like as a footballer? Is there a lot of like strength and conditioning, or is it kind of just like is it different like between different pre-seasons, different managers, or is it same as last season, would you say?
Um, I'd say this one's the same as last season, obviously under the same gaffer and same assistants and Mikey as well. So
Yeah.
and obviously Reeves does his bits as well. Like so, it's been the same for the past 2 years. But I think every manager kind of has their own different twist to it. Different runs. Most of the runs are the same, but there's be one or two little different ones really, and that's about it then.
Cool, perfect.
No hill runs yet.
Not yet, no. I think that one's coming soon.
Can I ask about how difficult it is for a footballer getting back into pre-season, staying fit over the summer? You only get a month at most, I guess, to kind of just relax and chill. But have you always got it in the back of your head that pre-season's only round the corner, especially after our playoff expeditions at the end of the last season?
Yeah, definitely. I think we had about 6 weeks off. First week or two, you kind of try to forget about everything, try and get your mind off it, but it's always hard to. And then you're straight back into it. Then you're always got in the back of your head, you're always thinking about, I don't want to come in next season unfit. So even when you go away on holiday, wherever that may be, always running, always doing a bit just to make sure that you're fine when you come back in pre-season.
What's it like actually for a footballer? Like from like a musician's point of view, when you have like really low like gigs and that, the come down is really horrible actually for 2 or 3 weeks because you're not performing anymore. And footballer, like you're having like the athlete, and then you're also you're a performer as well. You know, playing in front of all these people. What's it like afterwards? You're like, is it like phew, normality a bit, or is it like you almost like you can't sit still? Is it a bit like that?
Yeah, it's a bit strange because obviously for 40 odd weeks we are flat out, as in same thing every single week. You know, you're training, you're playing, you're training, you're playing, and then it kind of becomes that first week and that first weekend. You think like, what's going on? Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them really where it just becomes, it doesn't feel normal because you got that time off. But then you just got to try and do as much things just to distract yourself.
The fact that Foulston the first to sign, you were the first signing after all that, the sort of permutations of where our club was going. And I have to say that was so exciting because there was all this talk of we've only got one player. And then suddenly, and it was that brilliant Will Hancock's video of you sat on, I think it was Rockfish, I think the restaurant, yeah. And you're taking the call from your mate Boston Austin. And then it pans to the back of you. And then this, you know, I don't think you said what's occurring. I think you said something on the lines of what you got or something. And then, and it was brilliant because suddenly it just all felt, well, here we go. We're signing players. And they were so cool, those introduction videos, the Will Hancock's, was it Cutleaf Films?
Cutleaf,
and it was just, I just remember thinking, well, who's this chap then? And then everything was positive. Because a lot of the time when you sign somebody, especially somebody who's played at Yeovil, and there's, with all due respect, there's not a great deal of love lost, is there, between Torquay and Yeovil, especially after the season and the games we've had with them. But you go on the socials and all the comments were, okay, well they've got Jay Foulston. And then again, that was encouraging for us, wasn't it? So yeah, I just wanted to put that one out there. How that moment
it's a huge moment. You are actually
it was a huge moment. Yeah, so it really did. Anyway, so Swansea lad, Swansea supporter.
Yeah, Swansea supporter. Yeah, season ticket holder
Yeah,
for
Swansea through and
20
through.
years. Yeah, I came through there when I was younger.
Yeah. Um, so Swansea, the Gower Peninsula and Mumbles versus the English Riviera. Now, if that was a football score, how would you mark it? Let's say the Gower and Mumbles are at home and the English Riviera are away. What in terms of beauty and how much you love these areas?
I love this place. I love the English Riviera. I think it's
Yeah,
fantastic. My family love it as well. They really, really do like
yeah,
it a lot. Um, I think it's up there for me. I think it competes with anything. I think the place
yeah.
down here is magnificent. Yeah, I love it down here.
So that's a win then.
Yeah, a big win. Yeah,
Brilliant. Oh, that's fantastic. So Swansea lad came to the Newport Academy. Were you? Have you always been a defender? Because I know a lot of players. I mean, I can remember an Aston Villa legend, Alan Evans. He started off in Scottish football as a striker and a very prominent striker. But he moved into defence as a younger lad, about 18 or so. Have you always been a defender, or have you played in other positions?
I used to play on the wing a little bit when I was younger,
All right.
and then I used to play centre mid, and then I played defence as well, and it'd go in between. And then as I got older, I was just more of a defender.
You just felt more comfortable there, or because I mean, midfield, you
Yeah,
need some lungs for that, don't you? But I suppose you
yeah,
need some
no,
lungs
exactly.
for playing at fullback. So
Yeah.
there's never been a time this season when, when we have been a little bit sort of lightweight in the middle that you've thought, I could push up and do a job there, or are you pretty much no? This is I'm steadfastly a fullback. I'm going to defend and get forward as much as I can if I can.
Yeah, no, I'd back myself in anywhere to be fair. So I would step up if I was called upon.
Right? Yeah.
What was
Excellent.
it? Was it like a Newport? Obviously, was it 4 appearances and yeah, quite a lot of useful loan spells. How important are those loan spells to like a footballer when you're like trying to break through and you like go down a couple of divisions? Like how important are they? Would you say your ones?
Yeah, no, I think loan spells are massive in football. I think you learn a lot. You kind of get used to the men's game. You get used to defending for yourself. And it was totally different when I came through a Newport. I was 16 when I was with the first team, and then you learn bits, you pick up things along the way, but you don't learn until you actually play games. So I think
Yeah,
them
no,
them
totally
loan
with you.
spells for me were massive in helping me.
Was that when you got your under 9? Well, no, you got your call up, didn't you, with the Welsh national team? You played quite a few times as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I made 11 appearances for
Right.
under 19s. We had a good group to be fair. We had good set of lads and everything.
I mean, how thrilling was that? Was that
Unreal.
did you?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it was good. I think I captained them once and I scored from once as well. Like so that was massive for me. Yeah, it was huge.
yeah. And any aspirations to just continue this trajectory that you're on and get into the senior? Because I mean, never say never. Get into the senior national team
Yeah, of course. Like you said, never say never. That's always the aim, but I
because
just
you're
have to
still,
wait and see.
yeah.
In 2020, you moved to Taunton. How important was that to establish yourself at the football club, even if it was a few divisions lower from what you'd been playing at the time?
Yeah, that was probably a tough period of time where it was during COVID and
Mm.
the uncertainty of everything was going on, and I just got released by Newport, so I didn't quite know what to do, where to go. And then I remember speaking to the manager there, Rob Dre, and he said, "Listen, just come down for a session. I want to sign you, but see how you feel like if you want to, because obviously it was a few hours down the road." And I went there for my first session, loved it, and I thought this could be the path for me now, where just go and play games. Really, you can try and go on trial to these places and go here, there, and everywhere, but it's more important, I think, to go and get games and establish yourself in the men's game. Then,
What was it like? Did the league get cancelled at that time for you at Taunton during COVID? And what was it like as a footballer at that level during that time in COVID?
yeah. So I was on loan at Chippenham from Newport,
Right.
and then I think it was the March time it got cancelled the season, I think.
Yeah.
And then after that, then is when I signed for the season after I signed for Taunton, and everything was still a bit of the uncertainty and the unknown.
Yeah.
And then we started the season, and got cancelled again. Then after 11 games, I think, or 12 games. So we was off. It was like just stop, start for a year and year and a half. Like, so that was tough. Then to go and get going again the season after.
I imagine, especially because it's part-time league, so I suppose you also have other incomes as well, and that's quite a, I think people really don't understand, especially at football at any level. It's one of those weird sort of careers where you can earn quite a bit of money for a short space of time, but it's not guaranteed. You're one injury away. How do you actually like manage that? Do you have like other things going on, or is it always like this? You care for it, or because I know some players are just like, right, let's live this life, and then the career ends. You're like, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah, it's tough, especially when you're in part time. Like you said, and you're one injury away from it being all over. Then really, do you know what I mean? There's not massive certainty in the lower levels, so it's tough. But yeah, that's why I just try and get things going in and around it, so I always have something to fall back on just in case something like that ever happened.
Was Taunton at National League South level at the time, or was
League
that
below,
when they
league
were in
below,
the
wasn't it?
Southern Premier?
Yeah, Southern Prem, and then we got promoted to the National League South. Then
What was it like having your first promotion? Because it must have been mad.
it was unreal actually. It was a great feeling. I'll never forget it. I think it was the last two games of the season I scored in the both
Nice,
games,
nice.
which was nice. So that feeling for me was unreal. Was
Wasn't one of them
class.
a free kick? I remember seeing when you started the free kick video that
Yeah,
you scored because you
it
weren't really on
was.
any last season. We had a lot of good free kick takers. Well, I always remember that goal. I was like, why
Yeah,
is Jay Foulston not taking any?
yeah. No, I know. I'm always itching to take him. To be fair, and I feel the lads have wanted to take him, so I'm just biding my time a sec.
Right,
But
I'll
yeah,
shout louder for you.
it was it was Tibby away actually. Austin give away the free kick, and then I scored. But I didn't know Austin at the time, so
Refuse to
we have
believe.
a laugh and a joke about it now.
Obviously, Yeovil then happened. It's a bit weird one. You're on loan, weren't you?
Yeah, so
Was it like a loan with an option to buy, or what? How did that kind of work?
yeah, it was a loan with an option to buy. So it was from the start of December, then till the end of the season, just see how things were going.
Yeah. How was that? Because yeah, you got promoted again, didn't you?
Yeah, I got promoted again. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
we
it
were
was.
too busy trying to hide ourselves that season, to be fair. But what was that like again, going to another place and then getting promoted? That's twice. Some players never even win anything, actually, will get promoted. And you got two promotions already.
Yeah, no, that was another one to be fair, which was unreal. It was a really good experience. It was obviously great then to finish the season winning the league. So yeah, no, I enjoyed my time there. To be fair, it was good.
The move to Torquay, how did it come about? I mean, obviously, I suppose you've got an agent or you've got somebody who knows somebody, and what was it like to sign? Well, for a club that had been in such a dire situation, which because you must have heard about it or been reading about it, to be approached, and was it was it a no-brainer, or or were there things in the way, or how did it all sort of transpire?
Yeah, so for me, it was a no-brainer in the end. So I remember the season finishing. Didn't really know what was going on at Yeovil and what was going to happen. There was a little bit of uncertainty there. And then I had a phone call off my old tournament manager, Rob Dre, and he said, "What are you doing next season?" I said, "Oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing yet." And he said, "I've just had a phone call, hang fire for a week or two." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You trust me?" I said, "Yeah, of course I trust you." He said, "Hang fire for a week or two." He said, "I've had a phone call about something." And I said, "Okay, I trust you." So I hang fire. And then I had a phone call off the gaffer then, once everything was all announced and everything was all done. And he rang me straight away and he said, "Hi, Jay, it's Paul Watton. I'd love to sign you." And then for me, then from then onwards, he explained everything that was going on and what was happening. And I just knew straight away that that was where I wanted to be.
Rockfish restaurant and the
Yeah.
video,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
chip, only one chip. It was like,
I think we had to do like two or three takes. So I think I had two or three of them.
oh right. So that was a couple of bowls of chips then.
Yeah, they were a bit cold by the time I got it right, I think.
Kept them away from the seagull. Did you get a sense of the mood in the home game against us? Obviously, Yeovil well on their way to winning the league at the time anyway, and us in administration trying to just stay in the division, or did you just get a sense of things from a Torquay perspective? I suppose you're all full focus on Yeovil though at the time in the league.
Yeah, at the time, obviously, I was full focus on Yeovil and winning the league. But I knew a few lads who were at Torquay. Obviously, I knew of Torquay. I knew how big the club was. And it's quite a shock, really, to see where the club was at that time. Like you said, they were in administration and results weren't quite going their way at the time. When you looked at the team, I always thought, like, how is that happening? But obviously, a lot goes on in football. But obviously, I knew in the back of my mind that that club was massive and they shouldn't be where they were.
How important when you obviously signed was it building a team that was very like a lot of Southwest based, a lot of been experienced, a lot of people knew each other, like having that kind of cohesive unit. Because at Talkie for ages, we've always had this thing of, oh, the reason we don't do well is because players have to move from London. Which actually is not true because you see how well Exeter and Plymouth have done over years. But
Yeah.
how important was it having that sort of cohesive unit last year when you saw it like building?
Yeah, no, it is massive. I think it was massive as well because we didn't really know each other too well. We
Mm.
played against each other a lot, but I think the group that we signed were so tight knit together where we just got on with each other and we just got straight into it, got straight into it. Obviously, it took us a few games to get going. We think we had like a slow start to the season, a slow burner, and then you could really see things start to come together.
So,
What is it like actually when
sorry.
you're at Christmas and all of a sudden we're like, oh, we're top of the league here? Was it a little bit of a case of, God, we need to maybe readjust things, or was it, like how was the mood as like in that first half of the season as it went on? Was it a case of, God, we're actually doing well, or was it just a case of we always actually believed in what we were about?
Yeah, we knew what we had. We knew the players we had, and we knew what we were capable of. So I think when we got to the top around Christmas, it was just we were like, we've done this to get here. Obviously, we need to keep going. Obviously, in the end, then it didn't quite work out. But at Christmas time, it was probably tough for me because I just got injured
Yeah,
before, just the week before Christmas, I think. Or the week before Boxing Day, I got injured just before then, so that was a tough period where I was out for a little bit, and then you're kind of watching on from the silence, which isn't always nice. Then
I was going to say, how frustrating is that for a footballer? You're playing your trade. This is your livelihood. This is what you love. To pick up an injury and the uncertainty, and then having to, especially at the time when we were in the ascendancy, we were top of the table. And how frustrated were you
yeah,
at the time?
I think it's the worst feeling in football, to be honest. It's hard to describe the frustration because when you see a game, and if you lose a game, you think, "Oh, well, what could I have done to try and help you throughout it?" But obviously, it's taken away from you, so it's a tough one. And then you come training and you spend your time in the gym, and you finish the gym, and you come watch the boys train. You just rather be out there rather than sitting there watching. You just want to do all you can to help the team, and then you just kind of feel like you're letting the team down a little bit when you're not in and around it.
So I mean, it's a sort of occupational hazard, isn't it? Football, contact sport. You're going to pick up injuries, but I'm thinking, with sort of with mental health. I mean, do you have people in the club that? I mean, you've got some of your teammates. You probably rely on them, don't you? They're sort of
Yeah,
like
of course, yeah.
spurring you on and keeping you encouraging you and trying to keep your mood up and that. But that must be tough. When you do go through these periods, to
Yeah, of
keep your
course. Yeah.
mind focused and yeah.
Yeah, no, it's always tough. Yeah, you just want to focus and try and get back as fit as you can without rushing it too quick to get to
Mm.
the point where you get injured again. So you just want to get back as quick as you can and get back in the field then.
I think we've experienced that as Torquay supporters in the previous seasons. Clearly, the manager, the coaching setup, they've rushed players back, and then
Yeah,
it's set
it
them
happens.
back, and
Yeah,
but I guess it shouldn't really, should it? I mean, there should be a professional level where he's not ready, but we need him, because that's Sunday League, isn't it? You
Yeah.
don't expect that at a professional football club. So,
yeah,
but it's good that and I can imagine somebody like Paul Watson and the team behind the squad, that they are of a mind that they wouldn't want to jeopardise a player, which
Yeah.
as I say, has happened. We've seen it happen in the past at our club, and it's it's been quite annoying for us, and must have been awful for the players. So, but yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And,
No, it's nothing worse,
yeah.
is it?
So I was just looking at thinking about the end of kind of fast forward to the end of last season. I think from our perspective as a supporter, you kind of it's what we kind of sound dramatic, that phrase is what you work all week for to go and support your team. And obviously, so we kind of felt I guess the disappointment and that, but at the end of the season,
Right.
but what's it like? What's it like as a player when you think, because of course for us it's our hobbies, it's what we love, and we love our club, and we've been going for however many years. But what's that like as a player when kind of everything you've worked hard for and focused towards doesn't come off? How do you get over that?
I don't think you ever do fully ever get over it. Like now we still think about it now to this day. Do you know what I mean? We still go over it and you always think of the what if, but you kind of just got to put it in the past now. But at the time we were disappointed. There was so much frustration, so much thing where we felt like we let people down as well as ourselves. Like you said, you lot the fans work so hard all week. You pay your own good money to come watch us. So do you know what I mean? Our biggest thing is we wanted to give something back to you.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most disappointing thing, if I'm honest, for us.
What I can say though was that whole squad last year, especially from my point of view and my point of view, was a squad that all got us back in love with Torquay United, and he did nothing but make us proud all season. It was just that shared. I just want to ask you actually, those like that Weymouth game when you're coming off a game winning 3-0 and then Hemel 4-1 and you're like disappointed. That must have been a mental game to play in when you're especially Hemel when you're like 2-0, 3-0 up and you're like we need more goals. Like what was that actually like to play in as and manage that?
It was mad. The Weymouth one was mad. I remember scoring and then turning around and you think, God, we just got to run straight back. We need another goal. It's 3-0 wasn't good enough. It needed to be 5 or 6, and I think it could have been 5 or 6 as well. So that's probably where it was really frustrating for us as well. Then, and like you said, the Hemel game, we've come in at half time 2-0 up, and someone says Truro winning 4-1, and you think, oh,
they were 3-0 up like before we'd even basically kicked off, and it was mental. Like,
yeah,
but we still again the team was so one of those days, even though it didn't quite work. It was probably the proudest day I think we all had as a Torquay fan. What was it like with that like away following to play in front of that? It's unreal.
I've never. I don't think I've had a feeling like that away from home. Where the crowd just took over.
Yeah.
I felt like that we were going to go and do it.
Yeah.
The belief was there all the way throughout.
Oh, it was a great afternoon.
Oh,
Great
yeah,
afternoon. I think we all collectively were there, weren't we? And,
yeah.
Stunning weather, and it was a surreal feeling, wasn't it, at full time? Because I was still thinking, well, playoffs, we're going to do it, but it wasn't to be. But amazing day that was, and I'll sort of reiterate what Sam said. A lot of pride. We've all become really proud of this squad. Almost like a jigsaw puzzle that had to be thrown together so quickly, and yet gave us a season that was 2 goals away from and in that respect, I think now that the dust has settled and
I still call it success.
And in retrospect, it was a fantastic season, and now we're just ever hopeful that we're going to go one better.
There's
or 2 goals better.
There's a parallel basically from 2007 2008. We had new owners, new team. Just missed out in the playoffs on that one, and then the year after, that same team with a couple more additions, despite a slow start, got promoted back to the Football League, and you just see parallels with it. I'm really excited with the business that's been done. I have so much faith in like the recruitment at the club now. But what has it been like for you? Obviously, post-season going into it, new teammates. How are they all settling in? They're looking very good on paper.
Yeah, all good to be fair. All the new lads have come in and they're all great lads. Obviously getting to know them, we've only known them a week now, but they seem to have settled in really well. Obviously everyone here already is really welcoming, do you know what I mean? And we feel like we just want to kick on from last season, do you know what I mean? And just see what happens.
Yeah, and finally, just what's it been like? Obviously, playing under Paul Watson, real delighted to have him at our football club and all that kind of thing. But I think with that Taking Flight documentary, really showed the kind of how he's got his perfect balance of like the old school, but also he will
Yeah,
take the player under your wing and look after you, all kind of thing. And
yeah.
that's really important in football. And what's it been like playing for him?
It's been good. It's
Yeah,
intense. He's really intense.
mm,
But he's intense in the way where he has his standards, and
yeah,
if you don't meet them standards or don't want to be at them standards, then move on. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's just
That's
the
what
way it is, and that's the way that it should be. But I feel like he only signs people who buy into that way anyway, so that never
mm.
really becomes a problem.
I bet it's proper scary when he loses, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. He has his times where he loses it a little bit, but it's part and parcel of football, isn't it?
I would not like to have been in that dressing room for Bishop to lose in the FA Cup. That's
Oh,
And no, thankfully I wasn't in the dressing room that
And finally, if you had to say your favourite moments or moments of Torquay so far and what you're looking forward to, Torquay United, what would it be?
My favourite moment was probably Worthing at home
Yeah,
when I scored my first goal. I think that was probably my favourite moment.
yeah,
And then one of my other favourite games was probably Weston at home when we
yeah,
beat them 4-2 with 10 men. That was a really good day. And I think that was a time of period where we started to kick on as well and we started to find our feet.
that's great. Well, Jay Foulston, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck for the season. We've chose a good one, good footballer and a great bloke as well for Talkie Talk
I appreciate
sponsored.
it.
So yeah, so thank you for all that, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, appreciate it.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells.